Let's build the greatest UFC Brazilian fighter of all time. There's 10 attributes I've selected, which I'll go over. Just go ahead and copy and paste the template down in the description below and let me know who you would pick. All right, let's get into it. So for the first one, fight IQ. I define fight IQ basically as who's the most well-rounded fighter overall, that no matter where the fight goes, this fighter's going to be able to hold their own against the best of their craft. So for my 5 choices here, I went with Anderson Silva, Alexandre Pantoja, Davidson Figueiredo, Vitor Belfort, and Charles Oliveira. So for my pick, the most overall well-rounded fighter with the best fight IQ, I'm going to go with Anderson the Spider Silva. Number 2 for chin. This one's kind of self-explanatory. Basically, who's able to take a crack from some of the strongest fighters and not get KO'd. Now, granted, some of these guys did get KO'd before, but for the most part, they've taken some pretty solid cracks and still hanging tough. So my choices were Vicente Luque, John Lineker, Diego Lopez, Pedro Munoz, and Paulo Costa. So for my pick here, I went with Bohachina. All right, in boxing here, self-explanatory, who I think has the best hands. I'm going to go with John Lineker again, Mauricio Hua, Thiago Alves, Junior Dos Santos, and Jose Aldo. So for my pick here, this is just, again, subjective opinion, who I personally like, who has the best hands. I'm going to go with Jose Aldo, baby. All right, a heart and grit, another one that's self-explanatory. This is basically whoever gets their ass whooped for most of the time, hangs in there, doesn't give up. My choices, again, were Vicente Luque, Paulo Costa, Pedro Munoz, and Diego Lopez. And for this one, I'm going to go with Diego Lopez, baby. All right, moving on. Muay Thai kickboxing. This one is going to be between Wanderlei Silva, Vitor Belfort, Thiago Santos, Anderson Silva, and Alex Pereira. So this one, you guys should pretty know who I'm going to pick. Power time, baby. All right, moving on. For cardio, we got Royce Gracie, RDA, Alexandre Pantoja, and Jose Aldo. Now, the reason I had Royce Gracie on here is because he had that one crazy, was it like 30-something minute fight back in the day. So I'm going to go with RDA on this one, baby. All right, so for this one here, I'm going to go with takedowns. Now, this one isn't the traditional shooting double leg or trip or, it's basically whoever's takedowns I appreciate the most. So my 3 choices for this one were Damian Maia, Gleison Tibau, and Davidson Figueiredo. Now, personally, me, I like Davidson, so that's who I went with. All right, moving on to Jiu-Jitsu. This one's came down to 2 people. I'm pretty sure you guys can guess who they are. But my choices were Damian Maia, Charles Oliveira, Fabricio Verdum, Rosimar Palhares, and Renan Barão. But I went with Dubronx on this one. All right, moving on here. Kicking. Lyoto Machida, Edson Barbosa, Alex Pereira, and Jose Aldo. Now, again, Jose Aldo was probably my first choice here, but since I already picked up for boxing, I went with Edson Barbosa on this one. And lastly, for movement. So for movement is basically who I like seeing, their footwork and just the way that they move and stuff. They don't have to be the best striker at that craft or the best fighter in general, but I personally just like the way that they move around the octagon here. So my 3 choices were Mauricio Hufi, or I guess Ruffy, because Ruffy's not really a Brazilian name, Anderson Silva, and Michel Pereira. So for this one, I went with Michel Pereira. When he's not doing all that goofy shit and he's actually, moving around doing work, I like the way he operates.